Okay, so today we're diving into something a bit different. Um, you guys want to know about moving to and actually living in Shenzhen, China.
Right.
And we got a pretty thorough guide here, it seems like. It covers, the visas,
Yeah.
the initial setup,
Hmm.
all the stuff you got to do when you first get there,
Mm.
daily life, transportation, communication, and even legal stuff.
Yep.
So we're going to try to boil this down to the essentials,
Yeah.
to the really need to know stuff,
Absolutely.
so you guys can feel prepared
Oh, yeah.
and hopefully avoid any major pitfalls.
Right.
So let's get started. First things first, visas. How do you even get your foot in the door?
Well, there are two main visa routes you can take. The first one's the Z visa. That's the standard work visa.
Right.
This one, you need a job offer before you arrive.
Okay.
And it kind of ties you to that specific employer. Right.
Gotcha.
You'll have to mail in some documents, go to a consulate.
Yeah.
The other option is the L visa, which is a tourist visa.
Okay.
This one's a bit easier to get initially.
Interesting.
But you do need to prove that you can support yourself financially.
Right.
And even if you find a job, you still have to apply for the Z visa from within China.
Okay, so like different approaches with different trade-offs.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay, so what are the documents everybody needs regardless of which visa they're going for?
All right, so for both, you'll need your passport and photos, obviously.
Yeah.
Your bachelor's degree proof of 2 years of work experience, a criminal background check, and a medical checkup report.
Okay. Standard stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. But there's a catch your degree work experience letters, and that background check, they need to be double notarized.
Double notarized. What's that all about?
So that means you get them certified first by a local notary
Gah.
and then by your Secretary of State
Wow.
or with an apostle, which is like an international legal thingy.
Gotcha.
And make sure to make digital copies of everything.
Scan it all, back it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So paperwork squared away. What about once you're actually on the move? The guide really emphasizes getting WeChat set up.
Yeah, WeChat's not just like a messaging app in China. It's huge. It's for like social media payments, even accessing government services.
Wow.
So yeah, get your profile set up early and start getting familiar with all its features.
Like way before you even get there.
Yeah, the sooner the better.
Okay. All right. And there's this tip to flying to Hong Kong first. Why is that a good idea?
Well, Hong Kong gives you a bit of a softer landing, more familiar environment to adjust to,
Yeah, that makes sense.
especially in the beginning. Plus, it's easier to buy necessities there.
Okay.
And importantly, you can access the open internet in Hong Kong. So you can download a VPN, offline maps, translation apps, all that stuff before you head into mainland China.
Right, where internet access is going to be more restricted.
Exactly. Plus, flights to Hong Kong are often cheaper.
So it's a win-win.
Pretty much.
Okay, so Hong Kong pit stop, then into Shenzhen. What are the immediate priorities once you arrive?
So if you're on a Z visa, you'll get a 30-day entry stamp when you arrive.
Okay.
Then you got to do another local medical check, register your address with the police,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll have a government interview for your residence permit.
And what does the residence permit do?
It basically gives you way more freedom to move around and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
If you're on the L visa, though, your main focus will be networking and finding a job.
Right, right.
You can get a temporary permit that allows you to do some things while you wait for your full residence permit.
Oh, yeah.
And your actual work permit comes as a separate ID card.
Interesting. So many different cards and permits.
Yeah, it's a bit of a process.
Right, so you've settled in a bit. How about paying for things? It sounds like it's a whole different ballgame over there.
Yeah, it is. QR code payments are the norm in China through WeChat Pay and Alipay.
Okay.
You'll want to link a Chinese bank account to your WeChat.
Right.
And it's smart to keep some money both in your bank account and in your WeChat wallet.
So both places.
Yeah, just in case Alipay can be helpful when you first get there because you can link your foreign credit card to it.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
And a local SIM card is essential, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely, for verification purposes. And just to communicate,
Right.
head to a major branch like China Mobile with your passport.
Hmm.
They'll set you up with a pay-as-you-go plan.
Easy.
You can check your balance usually through a WeChat mini app or by SMS.
Okay.
Just watch out for roaming charges if you go back to Hong Kong.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Okay, finding an apartment that seems like it could be tricky.
It can be, school-provided housing is definitely convenient, but it might have some downsides.
Like what?
Well, maybe noise restrictions or location isn't ideal. If you
Right.
search on your own online or in person, just be aware of fake listings.
Oh, yeah.
And not every landlord is okay renting to foreigners.
Interesting.
So yeah, inspect properties, carefully aim for a 10-month lease.
10 months, yeah.
And consider maybe temporary accommodation at first, just
Yeah.
to make sure your job situation is stable.
Good advice.
Oh, and once you find a place, you got to register your address with the police within a week.
Really? Within a week? Wow.
Yeah, it's mandatory, but your landlord or HR should help you with that.
Okay, that's good.
And don't forget essentials for your apartment. You know, comfortable mattress, good lighting, a fan or heater, depending on the season.
Yeah?
Insect repellent, a water purifier, or a jug, and an electric kettle.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting around a huge city like Shenzhen, what's the best way to approach that?
Honestly, public transportation is key.
Okay.
Download those essential apps, you know, offline maps. Metro Man for the subway, Didi for taxis, Baidu Maps for general navigation, and bike-sharing apps, which you can often find within WeChat.
Oh, cool. All in one.
Yeah, the Shenzhen Metro is actually really modern and extensive.
Good.
Buses are useful, but they can be a bit harder to figure out without some local knowledge.
So?
Electric scooters are super popular,
I bet.
but they do have some informal regulations for foreigners.
Oh, really?
Yeah, taxis through Didi are cheap and easy to use, although most drivers won't speak much English.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if you need to travel longer distances, there's the express rail link to Guangzhou and Hong Kong.
Oh, nice.
Super fast and efficient. You can book tickets through Trip.com.
Okay, good to know.
Yep.
What about meeting up with people?
Usually people meet at MTR exits.
Okay.
WeChat's location sharing is really common, and it's handy to save your address in your WeChat favorites.
Oh, smart.
Baidu Maps is helpful for finding specific venues, too.
Gotcha.
Oh, and when you go to restaurants, be prepared to scan QR codes for the menus.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, and sometimes ordering might be entirely in Chinese.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, language is obviously a big deal. Mandarin is the main language in Shenzhen, not Cantonese, right?
That's right. Cantonese is spoken more in the wider Guangdong province.
Okay.
But in Shenzhen, Mandarin is dominant, especially among younger people.
Gotcha. So translation apps are basically non-negotiable.
Absolutely essential. Download those offline language packs and get familiar with the text, voice, and image translation features.
Okay.
WeChat has its own built-in translator, too.
Nice.
But honestly, learning some Mandarin will make your life so much easier.
Yeah, I bet. And we got to talk about the internet, right? Because it's different in China.
Definitely. It's a closed system, what they call an intranet.
Okay.
Lots of Western websites and apps are blocked, you know, Google, Facebook, WhatsApp, things like that.
Right.
So you'll need to use Chinese alternatives like Baidu, WeChat, Didi, Taobao,
Gotcha.
or use a VPN.
Right. VPNs are popular over there.
Very popular.
Okay, lastly, let's talk about the legal side of things. It sounds like daily life might not be as restrictive as some people imagine.
Yeah, that's often true. Sometimes you might notice a lack of strict enforcement in certain areas more than actual overt control.
Interesting.
Work contracts might offer less protection than you're used to in the West.
Okay.
So pay close attention to the details.
Yeah.
Landlord disputes can definitely happen, and enforcement of rules can be a bit inconsistent. Prevention through security checks is common, though, you know, like going through checkpoints and things.
Yeah.
VPNs are technically illegal,
Right.
but they're not really enforced much for foreigners.
Okay.
But drug offenses are super serious, like really harsh penalties, so just steer clear of all that.
Yeah, for sure. Good advice.
Motorbikes are mostly banned in downtown areas. Electric scooters are more common.
Yeah.
But again, those regulations for foreigners can be a bit unpredictable.
So it's like you got to navigate those official processes, but also understand those less formal aspects of life, you know, on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Being prepared and adaptable seems key.
Definitely.
Say, as you guys are thinking about this potential move to Shenzhen, what part of adapting to a new culture do you find the most interesting or maybe even a bit daunting?
Yeah.
And how has this overview maybe given you a new perspective on things?
Right.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Of course.
We'll catch you next time.
See ya.